Guys, Jeremy here at My Way MFG, getting geared up to do some more BSA work, and I want to get the welder moved into the other garage where the motorcycles are. This welding cart, I had to do a little work on it. Let me tell you what happened. So I had built this cart about 25 years ago, probably in about 2000 when I bought my first MIG welder. This is the very first thing I ever welded on. It was my trial practice run with a MIG welder. And the welds aren't very good, but nothing ever broke, right? So that's good. Trouble was, I didn't build it with very good off-road capabilities. I had an axle shaft going through that hole right there with the wheels up here, so it was kind of a tail dragger. And I had like some cheap plastic lawnmower wheels on there. And then in the front, I had swivel wheels, but they were little plastic ones off a shop vac. If you guys watched those Model T videos last year where I was welding out in the yard with this welder, that was a struggle to get that welder out there because the little plastic wheels on the front wouldn't roll through the grass, and you couldn't pick it up, the front of the cart up, because then you're plowing. So every time I had that welder out there, it was like pulling a plow through a field. So then I came in here this winter, started working on the Model T, tried to drag it across this plastic, wasn't any better. I was constantly catching. By the time that video series with the Model T had ended this spring, I had both front wheels broke off. I don't think I ever mentioned it, but I was missing both front wheels. So anyway, I had this cart I'd brought home at some point, thinking it'd be handy for something. And it's been sitting around here about 3 years, so apparently I was wrong. It wasn't as handy as I thought it was. I could never find anything I wanted to use it for until now. I cut 2 of these caster wheels off of it, and I welded on the front. And those are kind of an industrial wheel. They're way better than the shop vac wheels were. And then I had 2 of these. They came off of like a little dolly thing. They're like industrial wheels too, and I just plug welded them on here through the holes. But I got this thing rolling again, and now I can pick the front of it up without the back dragging. And I got a lot more ground clearance, you know. Before it was kind of like a 1963 Impala, like one of them lowriders. You had to be on a smooth surface. So anyway, now that I've done this, I think I can drag my welder to the other garage quite a bit easier. Got real hard after the front wheels broke off. Boy, I tell you. Anyway, I'm gonna put this all back together. I got a new tank of gas. And I'll see you in the other garage. Hey, one thing about it though, my 2025 welds are right up next to my 2000 welds. My 2025 welds are significantly better. So that's progress, right? Got that welder moved into the other garage. The off-road capabilities of the cart are better. Still not great. Finally got a chance to get down and see my friend Troy yesterday. Got a brand new front tire. It's exactly like the one that's on it. This one's better, it's not rotten. So that's good. You might have heard me say in the first video, I think it was, I was talking about the handlebars. I said I wish they were a couple inches lower and they had a little bit more turn back to them. I think it would feel better and maybe look better too. Anyway, Troy had these bars which do exactly that. I don't know if you can see, they got quite a bit of turn to them. And they're about 2 inches shorter. And I think those are gonna do exactly what I want. I don't think I could have found better ones if I would have been searching through thousands of them. I think these are the right bars. So we're gonna get these on there. Very happy with that. They're in nice shape. A little bit of road rash right down here on the bottom of this bend, but you can't see it. So that's good. Right there's also a new inner tube. Got a bunch of miscellaneous brackets here I can cut up and modify and use. This is the switch for my Harley. I needed new switches. The starter wasn't working. So I got that to fix that with. Here's a chrome brake rod I can probably cut and rethread and use. There's two exhaust pipe clamp things I was missing. Got levers, air cleaners, two Lucas coils, ignition switch. Got 3 different brake light switches here we can choose from. Here's kind of a chrome brake pedal thing. I'm gonna see if maybe I can build that into my forward controls and use that, maybe. We'll see. Dual cable throttle. That's gonna work good. I think that spring, I'm not sure yet, I haven't tried it. Might work on the kickstand. I got 2 of these, so I thought when I do the forward controls for the shifter, maybe try to do a heel toe shifter. I used to have them on some Benellis I had. Those are kind of cool. Here's a ground cable we can use for the battery at some point. Yeah, just a lot of odd and end stuff here to work with. I thought I also had, oh, here's a spring I thought for the brake pedal. I thought there were some chain tensioners here. Where did chain tensioners go? There's a rectifier, but I don't think I'm going to use it. BSA had these rectifiers on them. Then they had a Zener diode and then a heat sink. I think if I just go with something more modern, I can get all 3 of them components into one piece. Make that easier to wire. Oh, here's my chain tensioners. I held them up there. It looks like they should work. So we got all this. That's good. Brought home some different exhaust pipe stuff. Maybe we can cut and re-weld and do something with. Don't know yet. Box of miscellaneous stuff here that we can dig through. Lots of different bolts and stuff, springs, brackets. That's good. I was really only needing 3 things for the Sportster. I needed the starter button to work, so I needed new handlebar switches. I checked those switches with a continuity tester and they do work. But somebody's kind of butchered the wiring on that. Wasn't me. I've never been into the wiring on it. Everything always worked until now. But they've removed some wires out of the wiring harness, so it's making it a little tricky to figure out how to put the new switches on without, yeah, they'd done some soldering and stuff. I'll show you here in a minute. I think I've got it figured out. But the other things I needed for the Sportster, the accelerator pump was leaking, and I need a battery. Anyway, Troy happened to have an accelerator pump. So I think all I need now is a battery for that. And this is the brake actuator lever for the rear hub that we were missing. So I've got one of those now. So what I'm waiting on right now, I came out here this morning and I started tack welding this bracket into place for the forward control. I just slid a piece of pipe on there so I could set my foot on it and see how it felt. But as I was doing this, I had this gas line that goes up to the other petcock on the gas tank. You know, it's a dual petcock tank. I had that laying up there and this fell on the ground and just soaked the floor with gas right as I was starting to weld and grind on that. So I've been waiting for this floor to dry up and evaporate down to where I feel safe welding again. I'd hate to be laying down there with a welding helmet on, not being able to see. The floor catch on fire around me, that wouldn't be good. So I don't know how long I should wait on that, but I'm gonna wait a little longer. So while I was waiting, I decided to take the headlight out of the Harley and look at the wiring. I had 4 wires coming up through this harness, an orange, a gray, a black, and a green. And then somebody had soldered a white wire in between here to catch power off that gray wire, feed this switch, and the brake light switch. But the way that was supposed to work, here's the other switch, there were supposed to be 3 power wires coming up there. All I have is the gray one, and the red and the brown, which the red would have been powering the brake light switch. The gray, I think, the ignition switch, and this is a turn signal switch. But they were catching all the power off one wire through that soldered on joint at the handlebar. I'm just gonna twist them 3 together and make that connection back in the headlight. I don't wanna have to rewire the whole bike, and what they did has worked in the past, so this should do the same thing and get me going again. The white wire should go from the kill switch back down to the coil and break power to the coil. It's missing too, which explains why the on-off switch for the engine on the handlebars has never worked. I always just shut it off with the key. And I think I'm just gonna coil that up and leave it in the headlight for now. I might could wire that in at some point, but I mean, I've got by with this bike for 25 years without it, so I can get by another 25 probably. And then these buttons work. I checked them, continuity tester. This starter button worked if I could wiggle it a little bit. The turn signal one didn't work at all, but I could take and jump between them too and get the turn signal to blink, so it is just a bad switch. And then these go up to the brake light. So anyway, this has all been messed up in here. So I just gotta do what I can, you know, to make it work. Like I say, I don't wanna have to rewire everything. It always worked before, so it should work again, right? I hope. So, right here where they got this wired in, let's cut this right here. See if we can just get this whole thing to pull out. Like grommet got stuck back in there. I have to get something to dig that out of there. There, got it. There it is. Get that back in there. I would like to have been able to pull this conduit wrapping off of here and put back on the other one, but you can barely fit 4 wires through that one. I'm not gonna be able to get the 3 extra ones through there. So I need to find something to sleeve those wires so it don't look bad, you know? Let me look around here and see what I can find. Well, I've looked and struggled and looked and struggled more, and I can't find any conduit to fit over this or sleeve it, so tape it is. Tape never looks as good, right? We'll try to get it wrapped nice and tight best we can and just go with it. I had a heck of a time getting that plastic grommet back in there. Now that my wiring harness is larger diameter, I finally got her to snap in there though. So I think this is ready to wire back in and put back together and try it out. Both of my dash lights came on. I was wanting to leave this loose, make sure them both lit up before I buttoned all this back up. Starter button work. Battery's dead, but yes. What about turn signal? Got a turn signal. That's good. Brake light. Brake light don't work, but I don't think it ever did. Wonder how that switch works though. Maybe it works off pressure, you know. Just not sure how that switch is made. Maybe after I fill it with fluid and bleed it out, maybe it'll start working. Probably not. But I don't think it's ever worked. So I still got one for the rear, right? Yeah. I think I'm at least back to as good as I ever was, which is good enough for me. I'm gonna button this back up. Yeah, it's all back together. Everything's working. The engineer that invented this rubber grommet with this double chrome retainer ring for that headlight, all I can say is he must have graduated in the same class as the guy that done the rubber windshield molding and center division bar on a 40 Ford. Neither of which should ever be attempted by a guy that's half blind. But I got it, right? Hopefully I never have to take that apart again. Maybe. That'd be good. Okay, I got some brake fluid in there. I just took the bleeder clear out, held my finger over the hole, and then bled up by lifting my finger on and off the hole until I got it bled out. So I'm gonna get the bleeder back in here and maybe check that brake light again. I think the only thing left is get the carburetor back together. There's that bad accelerator pump. This one had one hole in it for the roll pin to go through. This one's got 3, so you can change the throw. Oh, what would you say? Give it more stroke. It looks like that middle hole right there is, if I hold them next to each other, that middle hole right there by my thumbnail is probably the same as this one. So that's the hole I'm going to try to use for the pin here. Got the carburetor back together. I just poured a little gas in it. I think we're going to see if she'll start. License plate expired in 20, so it's been about 5 years. I put a pan underneath of her. She tends to get sick and throw up on the floor if she sits too long. That jump pack ain't got enough power. That'd charge a little longer, I guess. Maybe it's got enough power to start the BSA. I just wired up the Lucas coils. Let's try that. Oh, she made a pop. And guys, I've been kicking on this. I had spark and I think I got gas. It wouldn't start. The points were opening and closing, contacting. I cleaned them the other day. But you know, when I was cleaning them, I didn't really pay a lot of attention. But I got to thinking about timing. Look at that point gap right there. I thought that looks awful big, right? That's supposed to be set at 15. I just slid a 24 in there. And I can do that on both sides. So I'm thinking I probably don't have enough dwell time there to charge the coils. Not to mention it'd be advanced. Let's get these points set right and give her a few more kicks. See if anything happens. I came out here to look at this. The valve cover was trapped on here. I was scared I was going to have to pull the motor out to get the valve cover off. Well, I screwed out the studs, all but this one. I was able to lift it over. And at least I know that'll come off now. I thought, man, that'd be bad if you ever had to adjust the valves or something. But it is tight, you know. But anyway, we can see the valves now. I've got a test light hooked up here to the black wire with the white stripe. That's the bottom set of points. That's the points for this side. So I'm going to start bringing this around on compression stroke. We can watch the valves now, see when they're both closed. And I want to see where those points break and the light goes out. Because the piston should still be down a ways when that light goes out. I read about 3/8 of an inch down is about 35 degrees. So let's just see where we're at now for a reference point. So I think we're really retarded on the timing. Our test light is on. You guys can see that maybe. Let's get it up on compression. I got both spark plugs out. That valve is opening, so we got to go around. Okay, we're starting to come up now. Let's just stick this down here. Light's still on. Light's still on. Right there, the light went out. I need to put a mark on that screwdriver right there. Find a marker. Bring it up until it stops moving. I was already clear at the top. So, it looks to me like that plug is firing exactly right at top dead center. I'm going to loosen this timing plate and back it up so we can advance it and get it fired before that piston reaches clear to the top. We do that, just kick it a few more times and see if it makes a difference. Okay, that shaft is going counterclockwise, so that plate needs to rotate up. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I got both of these to at least kind of run. I think the Harley's good. I think it just needs a battery, and I should be able to take it for a test drive. The BSA, I've got the timing close enough to where it starts now. It was retarded, and the point gap was way too wide. I think they had probably widened the point gap trying to advance it. Anyway, if I could get it running long enough to kind of see where I'm at, I could probably just do some fine tuning on that and get it pretty good. But it will idle for a while and die, and it seems to me like it's not getting enough gas through the idle circuit. Just seems like it's running out of gas. I don't know yet. But anyway, it did start and run, so that's good, right? We'll do a little more tweaking on it, and I think we'll get it. I didn't show it in the video, but I did run a compression check on this, and both cylinders pumped up to about 150. I think that should be a pretty healthy engine. And I can see a little bit of oil spraying up top when it's idling, so I think the oil pump's working. Anyway, I just don't know what to say quite yet. I do think I got a carburation problem. I've got both air screws on the carburetor ran clear in, running it as rich as possible right now through the idle circuit, and it's just not getting enough fuel. And those screws probably should be turned out about 1.5 turns, but it won't even really idle there. So I got a fuel delivery problem, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, all them things. Next video, maybe we do a little more welding, or maybe we try to get this to where it will actually run a little better. I don't know. But hey, you know, it might have been 30 years since that motor's been started, so it's good to hear it. It's making BSA noises once again. And as far as the actual timing procedure to do this correctly, I tried it once when I was like 19 years old. I had a manual and I was trying to do it on my other BSA, and I wasn't smart enough to figure it out. I ended up having to take it to a guy, and he set the timing for me. But I thought, hey, I'm older now. I understand things better. Plus, I've got the internet. Surely I'll be able to figure out the timing procedure on this. There's supposed to be timing marks and stuff, and timing lights involved, and I need pictures. Nobody shows me any pictures. And my big problem is I've overestimated my intelligence gain from the time I was 19 to, how old am I, 54? I thought I was smarter now, but maybe I'm not. But anyway, I think I'm smart enough. So we'll get it, right? Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next video. Later. Jeremy.